Hi, and welcome to my first tumbler video. I bought this stainless steel double-walled tumbler from Michaels, and the first thing I'm going to do is use this tack it over and over adhesive. I see a lot of tumbler artists use it 50-50 with water to apply their holographic glitter. I'm not using a holographic glitter, I'm using an iridescent glitter. So I'm not expecting to get the same effect, the same type of reflection that you would get from holographic glitter, but I just want to try this process just to kind of get the feel for it. So this is just kind of an experiment. Being my first tumbler, I wanted to try a bunch of different things and I couldn't decide what I was doing. And it's not going to hurt anything to do this on the base layer anyway, so I'm just doing it just to try the process. I originally sanded the tumbler. I do have the rim taped because I'm leaving a lip line. I get there's conflicting information about food safe resin out there, and I just think better to be safe than sorry. I'm using crystal resin. I'm taping off a lip line, and I did a base layer of white paint mixed with gesso with a foam brush, and I didn't like the way it looked, so I did go out and spray paint it with a matte spray paint, just a matte, not even a primer, it's just I think it's Shortcuts or something. They come in those tiny little spray cans. So the tack it, I didn't read how long I'm supposed to let this tack it dry for, and I can't remember what the video said. So I'm just kind of hanging out going, I don't know what to do, I just kind of peck at it a little bit, and yeah. Not 100% sure what I'm doing at this point. I lose patience with it, and then I just start applying the glitter. So you can do all of these steps on the turner, or you can take your cup with the little handle off the turner and just do it, just turn your cup manually, which is what I'm preferring to do at this point, because being my first time, I just want to feel like I have a little bit more control over what I'm doing. And it looks like I'm using a lot of glitter, but a lot of it ends up on the parchment paper and goes back into the bag. So this might not be the most graceful demonstration on how to do a tumbler, but this is real stuff. This is me doing it for the first time. So with the holographic glitter, I see a lot of tumbler makers go in and smooth the glitter down with their fingers, and that's why I'm using the tack it adhesive, because it's, obviously not a resin. You can use your fingers and it's not going to hurt anything. Although the glitter can be a little bit sharp. So I think next time I would probably even still just wear a glove, just because the glitter can kind of stab into your finger a little bit. So it's nice and smooth and shiny, but it does not have the holographic look to it. But I wanted to see how difficult it was to actually do that process. And it wasn't very hard at all. So here I am going back with a second layer of glitter. This time I am going to use resin. So I have maybe 1.5 ounces of resin here, and it's pretty much still too much resin for what I was needing it for at this point. But again, learning process. I just pour a little bit of resin down and smooth it out with my fingers. One of the things that I was worried about watching videos is that seam at the bottom of the cups that have that, that ridge, and what happens to that ridge when you work with the cup. Does it show in the end? Does it disappear? And you'll see at the end of the video that it actually does disappear. The resin fills it out and levels over top of it. The glitter helps cover that up, and you don't even see that rim at all, that seam. So at this point, I'm going to put another layer of glitter on. I'm not smoothing it out with my finger. I just kind of tap at it and try to get some of the pieces to lay a little bit flatter. I don't want to have to put on, multiple layers of resin to get the glitter to be covered up and smooth. This is probably, I would say, a fine glitter. It's Spinnet glitter in the color, I believe it's called Unicorn. So it's not a chunky glitter, but it's not a fine glitter. It's in between. So I think it's called, I want to say fine, not a super fine glitter. I want to say it's a fine glitter. Just a regular old glitter. There's no shape to it. There's no, it's not chunky. It's just a regular old glitter. So I do kind of peck away at this a little bit and fuss with it and try to get the glitter to lay down and behave itself, but it really doesn't lay all that smoothly, which is fine because the next step that I'm going to do is put on just a clear coat of resin, and I'm going to do that on my turner. So here I am with the turner, a couple of ounces of resin, still too much resin, but I always have little molds on the side to use to catch any extra resin. So I wanted to try this process of using the turner to put on a clear coat of resin. And it's not that hard. It probably takes a little bit of practice. I probably did drip a little bit more resin than I needed to, but I think, if you haven't done a process before, you obviously don't know how to do it, execute it perfectly. So it turned out okay. A little bit of resin on my plastic sheet there, but not a big deal. And I probably let this turn on my turner for about 4 hours. I was doing this at night. I didn't want to leave it running overnight, but I'm pretty sure that the 4 hours was enough. So I'm going to be applying some temporary tattoos. This is an inspiration that I got from Lisa Wyatt. The first time I ever saw anyone use temporary tattoos on an item was through her. Now I did make a little slit at the very top center and the very bottom center of that wolf piece, just so when I turn it over, I can orientate it straight up and down. The feathers I'm not too worried about because they're going to be going at an angle, facing each other. So I wasn't too worried about, what the orientation of those were going to be. Now you'll see that I have a little bit of trouble getting the tattoo to actually transfer completely onto the cup. The plastic sheeting on my feather tattoos had come off and I stuck them back on. So I don't know if that ruined it or if I'm not waiting long enough before peeling the paper backing off. But you can see I go to pull it off and like the tattoo's just not staying down. A little bit comes up. But the design of the tattoo, the feather is kind of a mandala effect or a mandala looking piece, and you'd be hard pressed to find where any of the ink is missing. I think it turned out just fine, despite some of it coming off with the backing paper. I'm pretty sure the biggest thing I did wrong here was just not wait long enough for that ink to settle onto the cup. So I'm just going to apply the wolf. The plastic sheeting on the front of this was in good condition, so I had quite a bit less trouble getting the wolf applied to the cup, which I'm glad because I was, wanted the wolf to be, I was more worried about the wolf than I was about the feathers. So I'm just using a cotton pad with like a rather saturated cotton pad and just water. So the paper kind of crinkles and buckles up a little bit, but that's just the way the paper reacts to the water. And that's not necessarily the tattoo doing that, but you do see I go afterwards with my finger just to make sure that everything's smooth. You should use a wet finger to rub over the tattoos really gently. I used my gloved finger, which probably wasn't the smartest thing to do, but it ends up working out okay. I do peel it off, and a tiny little bit of the ink didn't want to come off the paper, so I just put it back down, gave it a little rub with some more water, and then tried again, and it came off perfectly. It takes a lot of patience to sit there and wait for the 20 or 30 seconds it tells you to wait before peeling it off. So I just want to mention that I do have playlists on my channel. If you don't want to watch any of my resin work, or you don't want to watch any of my acrylic work, I try to categorize and playlist all of my art so that you can just go directly to the stuff that you do want to see. Another coat of clear epoxy, another 4 to 6 hours on the turner. I am going to go back after and clean up the lip line and put on one more coat of epoxy. But I just wanted to show you how it looks. I think it turned out great for my first attempt. It was definitely a learning process. Thanks for hanging out. See you later. Bye.